what's at the forefront of my mind is just don't fuck up. Whatever you're doing, just don't fuck up. Whether it's, wearing your clothes, don't wear the wrong outfit, or like cooking a meal.
Well, today, my guest needs little to no introduction. In Malaysia, he has been cultivating and adding to culture for over a decade. Today, we get real with SonaOne, rapper, songwriter, producer. His music is just getting started, his personal magnetism is enviable, and his authenticity is undeniable. Join us as we get to discover a new side of this human. This is Off the Record with SonaOne. Yeah, today I'm sitting here with Mika. Thank you so much, SonaOne, Sona Kenobi. Yeah, all of these monikers that you have. Thank you so much for allowing me to come into the photo shoot, kind of see, kind of behind the scenes and just kind of just be in your presence. Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming out, and appreciate you having me on the record.
Yeah. I mean, listen, this is really a conversation about curiosity, right? And it's just really getting to know you and who you are. And as I was thinking about how we would kind of dive into things, right? I was thinking about, of course, the image and the persona you are, your music, the man that I think you are from seeing things, and I was like, man, how do we dive in, right? There's so much to dissect, and I think that the first thing that came to my mind was, what's on your mind right now? Like, what is something that is constantly really at the forefront of your thoughts? They don't even have to be music, right? I mean, what's something that's keeping your mind active in these last days, weeks, months, even years?
I mean, to answer the question pretty simply is what's at the forefront of my mind is just don't fuck up. Whatever you're doing, just don't fuck up. Whether it's wearing your clothes, don't wear the wrong outfit, or like cooking a meal, don't put too little garlic, or like leaving the house for a few days, not forgetting to do like leave food for the cats. Like, I think just the basic premise to life for me right now is just don't fuck up.
Yeah, where is that coming from? I mean, where are kind of these influences of because you saying to yourself don't fuck up, I mean that could be viewed as a few things, right? That could be viewed as like you holding yourself to a certain standard, you putting a certain pressure on yourself, you feeling maybe a way that you feel like I don't want to be embarrassed, so how does that root up? Where does the don't fuck up kind of manifest itself, and kind of like, if you trace the roots, where do they come from?
I think it really stems from the fear of disappointment, like not just disappointing myself, but disappointing the people around me, people that spend their time and emotion, energy, investing themselves into either my vision, my work, or even when it comes to love life or family. It's kind of like, in a weird way, like the dichotomy, the duality, and like the equilibrium and balance in everything that I do in life. It's, you have to be the best, but in order to be the best at what you do, you got to be aware that you are going to fuck up sometimes. And how do you handle that? How do you handle tapping yourself on the back for a good job, or like punching yourself in the head for not doing a good job? And that's not just to myself, but also to everything and the universe that surrounds me.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, like what you were saying, I mean, you first said like, the people that are around me, or that support, right? That circle, right? What does that circle look like right now in your life?
I mean, currently right now, if we're looking around, like it's a tight circle. It's a tight circle, but it's people who know me, understand me, and kind of see it the way I do. So I guess that kind of like makes it easier to not be so hard on myself or on others. But yeah, the keeping the circle kind of close in the sense where you're able to communicate your thoughts across, it helps with even when you fuck up, to be able to say that you fuck up, and like to just kind of hold yourself accountable.
Yeah,
I'd rather hold myself accountable for anything that goes wrong, even if it's not my fault. It's kind of like it's like my go-to reaction. I feel responsible.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like you're saying, right? Like it's easier to be vulnerable in a smaller circle sometimes because they know you, they can accept you, and they know it's just part of you, right? So they embrace that. I mean, so tell me a little bit about your vision, right? You know, when I started to kind of see you, and when we met briefly a couple of times, and I had no idea that you know, you were who you are, right?
Well, that's great. That's great. I prefer it that way.
And so, you know, then looking into everything, and I was like, whoa, like, you know, it makes you think, you know, for example, for myself, being Puerto Rican, growing up in Puerto Rico, you know, I'm a 70s, 80s baby, growing up in the late 80s, early 90s hip hop, and just to be in Southeast Asia and see kind of this, you know, how hip hop continues to just spread, right? And just like it's incredible, right? And so, yeah, maybe you can share what is that vision today for you, and how do you see where you are right now and what you're doing in regards to your craft?
Right. I guess the vision, well, I guess right now, and kind of it's been this way for a while now. The vision was always to be better than we ever been. So even if things go right, and even if, like, you know, the standards elevate, I always do feel like it could be better. So the vision is always like trying to see what's great now and how to kind of make it better, whether it's in music, whether it's in the circle, whether it's in even just the entertainment industry. I think we've come a long way since when I've started, like in terms of just the quality, the output, the mindset, the approach to creating, and also in the perspective that people have on what it is that we do. Because like for a long time in Malaysia, at least, you know, hip hop was always viewed as like a trend, or like a passing phase, or like a, oh yeah, this is the in thing now. But like, I mean, it's been the in thing for like 40 plus years.
Yeah.
And, I think we've come to a point where now it's kind of no longer in the discussion. So like parts of that vision that I had 15 years ago of like, I wish they could just stop looking at us as like the cool guys that come in as a trendy,
Or like a fad.
Yeah, it's not a fad. For a lot of us, this is our bread and butter. This is what we do for real.
Yeah.
And I think like the ones that have lasted this while are the people who saw it that way from the get.
Yeah, they're resilient, right?
Yeah.
They just
Exactly. And the ones that did it because they felt like it was a trend or a fad are the ones that got day jobs now. I mean,
I was gonna say the same
no
thing.
offense to the homies with the day jobs though, but like,
yeah, different type of bread.
different type of bread. I mean, at the end of the day, they're still putting bread on the table, and they heighten their own standard of living, and you know, not everybody shares the same vision. But what you can do is kind of like, you know, be able to see everybody's vision for what it is, and see where you fit in.
So in Malaysia context, right, or like we can say Southeast Asia, but Malaysia context, like, would you still consider yourself, or do people consider you a pioneer?
I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm a pioneer. I mean, like,
because, you know, there's different waves, right? But like,
I was part of maybe like, I would say, a pioneering group of artists from my particular generation. Even at that time, hip hop had already existed in Malaysia for like almost 20 years. Like I really came up in like the late 2000s, early 2010s.
Yeah.
But at that time already, you could, like, you know, you could celebrated 20-year anniversary for some of the pioneering groups like 4A2C and KRU. They were doing reunion shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And we were just starting out. So I guess in that respect, and perhaps, the group that like of the pool of talent that came up in that time, I guess we did kind of, in a weird way, start something.
Yeah.
We were maybe like, we were the first like internet babies, like,
Yeah.
you know?
And that's what I mean, right? Because like I feel like there's always different kind of levels of pioneership.
Yeah.
That's even a word, but like, you have those true pioneers that kind of started, but
Yeah.
there's a generation for everything.
Exactly.
Right? And so like in this generation and in this future present, would you still consider yourself like, we were some of the first that were doing,
Yeah, I guess
it's like, I don't know why I think about like Soulja Boy when, the famous memes with him. Right?
It's like, I started the end of that. I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's not wrong, really, because he was really the first, like, troll rapper. And, like, before there was a Tekashi 6ix9ine, there was a Soulja Boy. You know what I mean? Like, but again, I think it's like everybody plays their role and in shaping the future. Like, just like how Soulja Boy did it, just like how Kanye set the stage for Drake to exist. Like every artist is a pioneer in their own sense because it opens a certain door, or like it allows the floodgates to open for something else to happen. But you got to be that first to do that first thing first, I guess.
Yeah.
And like be daring enough to just kind of like go against what people think.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. I mean, what do you feel is the stage that's been set for you, and what are you doing with that stage right now?
I guess I'm constantly trying to change that. Like, people will, there's only so much you can control of how people perceive you, and then after that, it's kind of on autopilot. But then once that happens, the only person or way that you can change the way people look at you is yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in my case, the only way is output or silence. The right balance of putting out what may or may not change people's idea or perception of you.
Yeah.
Can also be achieved by staying absolutely quiet.
Yeah.
Sometimes being forgotten is what you need for people to remember you.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Talk to me more about that. I mean, because has there been a prolonged period of silence in what you've been doing and in your music? Because when I was, kind of looking and researching, I did see that there's a bit of a gap, right?
Yeah.
And so was that by design, or is that just circumstances and moments?
It's a bit of both. Like it started out circumstantially. Just things just didn't play out in the way that we planned it out. But then when I take a step back and I look at the situation, I'm like, you know what? This is actually maybe the universe telling me that I need to take a step back. That I need to take this time off to recalibrate and focus back into kind of reshaping not just the sound, but the outlook and the output. And for that, you need time. You can't be constantly like...
trending, right?
Yeah. Because if you're constantly out there putting your all the time, then you will burn out. So rather let the universe tell you that you're already burnt out before you realize it, and then you just kind of roll with it. So yeah, initially I realized over the course of my career, I've had multiple pockets of silence.
Yeah.
All of which were circumstantial, but then when you look back, you're like, man, the universe really kind of had it.
Yeah, had your back.
Yeah, it had my back because it was every single time absolutely necessary. So so like the silence is sometimes the most important thing you need for you to like bring the noise back.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
you're talking about like at least presenting your real self, or the perception that people have, right? And so when you have hip hop, there's a lot of persona there.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of and there's a lot of facade, right?
Yeah.
But can you share a little bit about who is Mika versus who is SonaOne?
To be honest, the further I go in this adventure, I realized that the two are becoming one.
That's
and then the veil is slowly lifting away.
Yeah.
And through silence and kind of just like putting myself back, it kind of helped as well. Because like obviously, like, you know, when you're constantly, you know, in the public eye and all that, you do feel like you need to kind of like put things aside or like hide certain aspects of yourself. In real life, when you're just a regular guy, sometimes, you know, you're homies like with somebody and you haven't seen them for 4 years.
Yeah.
It don't mean that y'all went silent on each other. It's just like life takes its own course. But then when you do get back together, something magical happens where you rekindle something, or like you form a different kind of bond, or you just kind of have a better understanding of what all of that really meant before the silence or anything. So I guess, yeah, to answer your question, like today, Sona and Mika are more closer together. I would say Kenobi is the guy that's slightly a little different.
Yeah.
But like Mika and Sona are pretty much the same guy now, whether it's publicly or personally.
And yeah, thanks for sharing that. I mean, what does that mean when you say lifting the veil? What does that look like?
I guess like not taking myself too seriously anymore, and also kind of like not giving.
How did you take yourself seriously?
I mean, rappers gotta take themselves seriously sometimes. Like, you know, you gotta be like, yo, I'm the shit, man. My shit's the shit. But then, like, I guess when you put that on for so long until people get convinced that you are the shit, you don't have to convince them anymore. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the shit or anything, but I do believe that for myself, I'm my own favorite rapper. But I have to be, because if I can't fuck with myself, then I don't think anybody else would.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm glad it's really ultimately for me. It's if I'm not happy, I shouldn't be doing it.
So through this process of like, you know, coming to this realization of saying, you know what, these two are actually one. I feel a lot more comfortable. Can you walk me through that? Like, what were things that were happening, or even things that were you doing something different? Right. So, for example, I love meditation, right? And so I feel like when you're very quiet and you're very still, clarity comes, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a lot longer than others, but like, you know, did you change something up also in your own rituals or habits that actually then made you kind of, okay, wait a second, this is there's something more, and there's something that is more united than separated?
Right. I guess really it was like back to the circle thing. I think it's really just the people I surround myself with. You know, the relationships that I've built over the years, the relationships that I've either built or that have ended. All of these things play a part in how I reevaluate everything.
Yeah.
In terms of like doing anything differently, I don't think I'm doing actually anything differently apart from just putting a lot more responsibility on myself, and again, making sure I don't fuck up.
Yeah, it's just accountability.
Yeah, but I do feel like, you know, it's really the environment that you create for yourself. I can't remember who it was that said it. Was it Timothy Leary or something that said like you create your own reality? It sounds very vague when people say that you create your own reality, but it's true. I mean, you it's not immediate. It's not that you close your eyes and like dream of monsters and they're right there, but you slowly and surely through just kind of carefully selecting based on intuition and just gut feeling what happens around you and what decisions you should make, that greatly influences what happens next.
Yeah, and then it all starts here as well.
It all starts here, and then after that, there's also in here. You know, I mean, finding the right balance between here and here is, I think, the hardest thing to do. Because sometimes people lead by emotion, sometimes people lead only through thought. But when you find the right kind of like equilibrium between both, then life becomes absolutely fun. Because even when you put yourself down, you'll know why, and you'll totally get why, and you can accept yourself for having, you know, put yourself in whatever situation that you're in. Yeah. And life just becomes a lot more beautiful.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, when you talk about, and I want to touch on one more thing actually, you know, just to kind of leave this topic or area behind, but you know, today people talk about authenticity a lot, right? And so it's going back to like, you know, I want to like
Yeah.
be the guy that people can relate to, but at the same time I'm me, and I'm being authentic.
Yeah.
And I feel like more than ever, like authenticity is like one of the best currencies, right?
Of course, 100%.
And so talk to me about what that may mean to you, and how you may be using that in your current state.
I feel like authenticity really boils down to having a very clear idea, or being at least, or being very self-aware of the kind of person you are, and to what degree your limits could be set. If you can have a good perspective on those things, you'll know yourself better, and you will just be automatically authentic, because there's nothing more authentic than a person that knows who he is, or rather understands why he is.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, true. So let's move on to like, then, coming off of this moment of silence, coming off of this, some people may call it hiatus.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean now for the vision moving forward? And, Adam was actually telling me, you've been making beats since forever, right?
Yeah.
And so, I was asking him, like, does he consider himself more like a rapper or an artist, a hip-hop artist, or does he consider himself more a producer, right? And so what's the vision kind of moving forward, with the music?
I feel like I go through those phases. Like it's like a cycle where I'll be more of a producer for a while, and then after that I'll just dive right back into becoming a rapper for a while, and then producer, rapper. So it's like I'm both, but I'm more of each depending on where the cycle is.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm not really in control of that.
Is that the Mika and Sona kind of like convergence? Like if you were to say, like, who's the producer? Is it Sona, or is it Mika? Who's in the?
I guess in this sense we can already kind of put Mika and Sona in the same boat. I guess it's Kenobi and Sona at this point, or Kenobi and Mika.
Yeah, right.
Like when I'm in producer mode, I am Kenobi. When I am in rapper mode, that's Mika, Sona.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I'm still figuring that one out.
Yeah. What's really like tugging at you in terms of like what you want to say, moving, like at least in the future present right now?
Oh, no, I want to just talk about things people don't talk about. Like rappers, it's pretty straightforward. It's my lyrics are this, my fashion is like that. Yeah, my homies got my back, like the streets is this, this watch costs this much, I'm rocking this, I'm rocking that. It's like, if you're going to be just having fun with rap, that's all fun. That's all fine, and it's fun. But if you are trying to, like, bring a little bit more authenticity, a bit more humanity, a bit more character, and maybe, like, just share your own stories, or rather somebody else's story for people to connect with the music, you got to go a lot deeper than just like the face value standard of rap, which I don't think is ever going to go anywhere. That's still kind of like the baseline to being a rapper. You got to be able to flex. You got to be able to like talk your shit, and and then show everybody that, like, yo, I'm not just the rapper, but I also got this, I got that, I got the this, I got the that. It's a very braggadocious sport.
Yeah, it is.
But where things really change is when you have other things to say, and when you're saying things that either haven't been said or that people don't want to hear. You have a higher chance of using music as a form of therapy as well. So I think really for me is I just really want to make songs that just mean more.
Could you share like a sample of that, like something that really pops out right now to you, that like, oh, when I was kind of penning this down, it was because there was an intention behind that, or that you felt really strongly about?
Man, off top right now I can't even think of one, but I'm sure there's plenty.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for example, I'm dropping a new single soon. So in Bahasa, it's called ta'ya. Ta'ya means like no need, like forget about it. Like ta'ya lah. He's like, hey, do you want to get these shoes? Ta'ya. Like I don't need it. So like,
but like you don't need it because you don't want it, or because
well, I mean, in the context of the song, the song is really about just kind of like, it's like a fuck it all song, like where this is maybe this is kind of like the song I want to use to kind of just like bring people up to speed, that like, you know, I've been quiet all this while, but now that I'm kind of like trying to make you guys hear me out again, I just wanted you guys to know that I'm kind of done with like everything in the sense, whereas like, you know, you do interviews, they're not like this, bro. Usually, you know, they'll start asking you all sorts of stupid questions and like like, okay, you have the interviews that you're supposed to be talking about your release or your single, whatever, but then they'll try to dive into like your personal life, but it's not in the same way that we're doing this. You know what I mean? Like it's like you're trying to talk about your album, but then the headline comes out, oh, SonaOne hates mayonnaise, shit like that. You know, so like
do you?
No, not anymore. Not anymore. I fuck with mayonnaise now. But like, that has happened, you know. I spent an hour pouring my heart out to a reporter, and then the article comes out, and like literally 2 lines about what I spent an hour talking about makes it to the article, and everything else is just jibber jabber.
Yeah.
So like, I'm done with that.
I don't have to worry about that. That's not gonna happen here, man.
But yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. So like, I kind of wanted to make the statement through the song that like, and it goes a little deeper than that too. Like, you know, it's I'm also kind of coming in from a perspective, like the song isn't about just me as a rapper or an artist. I don't want to fucking deal with all this shit. It's also from a perspective where like, as men, feel like in this era of, you know, feminism, which is great, and like, you know, woman empowerment, which is great, I feel like men have been disempowered and feminized, and like, I mean, I have no problem with any of that. The only thing I have a problem with is like, we've kind of forgotten what being a man is like, and sometimes it's sad being men.
Yeah, expand on that. I mean, you know, when you're thinking about that, what does that mean to you, that, you know, we've been feminized, or that we've been somehow, you know, our weapons have been kind of,
I guess
been dismantled, right?
It's the rise of the concept of toxic masculinity, which, yeah, it does exist, you know what I mean? And great that we've been called out on it, but take on the toxic, keep the masculinity. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, like to a very high degree, like, men and women do represent roles in society. Certain things women can do, men can't do, and certain things men can do that women can't do, and we just have to accept it for what it is, not discounting everything else in between or whatever people want to feel. That's completely up to you, because that's life, and you can't control that. Yeah. But what you can control is your own life and how you affect other people, or rather how life affects you as well. So, that being said, the song really kind of just reflects both aspects of it, like not just like for me as personally, like how I feel, but also kind of like where, like, you know, men have been pushed into a space where we just gotta shut up, hold our head down, and then also take responsibility for everything. It's always our fault.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it. I'm somebody who feels, you know, unfortunately, we live in probably the most hypersensitive time ever to date, and I don't know if that will continue to kind of like persist, right? Or if there's going to come a point that kind of tapers off. But yeah, we live in a time that unfortunately we have to watch what we say, how we say it, who we say it with.
Of course,
you know what I mean. And so, yeah, I think we need to, as a race, as a human race, we definitely need to take a couple steps back.
Of course, I mean,
on most things.
No doubt. I mean, like, of course, we always have to watch what we say. That's nothing new. But what for me is the most important thing is the freedom to say it. That's the most important thing. And if we lose just that simple little freedom, then what else is left? You know?
Yeah. I don't know why I'm thinking like, you know, this term just came to my head, and I don't know why I'm thinking about like fabricated accountability. You know what I mean? Because there's things that you can hold people accountable for, but then there's things that just are like, they hold no weight, right? They're kind of like, they're very like nimble, and they just don't have strength, right? So like, yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole other topic. I might need a second episode for this one. I'll touch base in a year and figure it out. Yeah. But I like that, fabricated accountability.
You know, but yeah, I mean, listen, moving forward now, what's really exciting you then, you know, and aside from the music, just from what you've kind of taken away, the awareness that you're currently, you know, presently having, and my brother, I hope that it continues to just like beautifully evolve, so that like hone, right? It's something that you're constantly synthesizing, right? Yep. It's nothing that it's like finite, right?
Exactly.
So as long as we're breathing, then we're definitely doing that, right? But you know, what's something that you're really looking forward to in this year? You know, whether it be in your personal relationships, in music, in family, in any other ventures, you know, and yeah, man, we should actually, I'll touch on that later. But yeah, what's something that's really, you know, what are a couple of things that are really like get you pumping?
I think it's venturing into the unknown is exciting.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do anything where I'm completely 100% sure of the results, it becomes boring before I even do it. So kind of like that excitement of not exactly knowing how it's going to turn out, or rather like things go out of your control.
Yeah, the absence of predictability.
Exactly. But in the end of the day, like how you go through it is still within your control, but that's after the fact. All of that is still within yourself. But then I think that's really kind of what I'm looking forward to this year. I have things that I'm definitely going to be doing, like, you know, releasing a single, working on the album, producing for other artists. These are like just like the normal every day, every year, like the story continues kind of thing. But then I want to kind of like, I'm looking forward to creating scenarios where I really don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But all I know is that I decided to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, step into it, right?
Yeah.
What is it like? Are there any other ventures that you are involved in or that you want to be involved in outside of music? Like, you know, we were talking earlier about a couple of things. We were talking about, you know, whether it's tech, crypto, all of these other things, and it's like, you know, are there things that really you would like to kind of put your hands in? And
right now, honestly, is really mostly music and entertainment centric. But like, if it was to be outside of music, I do really want to like try to get into like, I don't know, film or something.
All right.
Like move from audio to the visual, because I mean, like, yeah, making music is cool and all that, but then, you know, like how music videos are like an extension of the art.
Yeah.
Extension of the musical art. So like, I want to start like, you know, being a lot more hands-on with that form of extension.
Yeah.
The art form. And like,
yeah, I like that. Yeah, I'll tell you a quick story, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go for it, man. Yeah.
No, you know, like there was a time, right, and I had a really brief encounter with Kanye, right? And I ran into him in a UFC fight, in Las Vegas. And there was a time where he was like, you know, just like...
Was this Twisted Fantasy time?
This was, no, this was after that. This was, this was 2000, I'll tell you right now. This was 2000s, wow. Seems like less than that, but maybe 2016, 2017. Okay. Somebody has to look up whenever the second Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz fight. It was that fight.
Right.
And so it's crazy, like manifesting things, right? And there was a moment that I would tell a friend of mine, like, yo, I need to tell Kanye something. And then my friends would just laugh, like, what do you mean? And so I felt like he had so much noise, right? And you know, there was a lot of things in the media, and it was just a lot of noise, right? And I met him. He was sitting like 3 rows in front of me in a fight. And when you're in the fight, throughout the fight, you can just kind of chat with everyone, right? Especially in that area. And so I was like, yeah, I gotta tell him something. And I had rocked up to him and I said, yo, man, I'm nobody to say anything, right? But I feel like, you know, and now I'm losing my words. I feel like you're the Philip Glass of this generation.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I was just on the phone with Philip, right? Like, and I was like, what? And in my not so sober state, I began to say like, yo, you know, it'd be kind of dope if you create an album, like your next album, you don't say anything.
Yeah.
Because you've been saying so much. But imagine of just putting an album where it's just the music, right? And it doesn't have to be like beats, but, you know, it can be an orchestrated masterpiece, right? And so it can be very experimental. And then through those sounds, you can actually speak, right? You can share your anger, you can share your frustration, you can share, but it's all done in music and melodies and notes and I said my piece, right? R&B. But, you know, going to your point, it's just that, right? It's how do you express this tone, right? This frequency that we use, or this tool.
100%. But like, how do you get this out?
Yeah.
How do you get that out?
Yeah, and you do it either like you're saying. I mean, for you, it's visual, through any kind of sensorial outlet or floor, right?
Exactly. Like, I mean, I feel like very crudely put, I feel like the art of dopeness is really just manipulating any of your senses. You know what I mean? So like, for example, like you smell something good, that smells dope.
Yeah.
You know, and you get immediately like hyped up, like whether it's food or like a perfume or something, cologne. And then you see something nice that looks dope and you feel something. Or like music, that sounds great, you feel something.
Yeah.
You know, like, and at the end of the day, it's all the 5 senses is what give you that full experience. So I think Kanye as well tried this out like a while ago. He tried to do like a 5 sense show or something, I think.
Oh yeah.
The one where he had like 5 screens, like it was like a 5D experience, and then he built some sort of pyramid, and then it was inside of it.
That's
like,
so
like a crazy, like,
that's very Disney.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I felt that's kind of where the future would eventually be headed to, where like it will be a full-on 5 sense experience. Yeah. So until we get there, I feel like when it comes to the music, like I'm pretty comfortable with like the approach to it. I mean, there's a lot I haven't done yet, but then the next step would be, you know, expanding to visuals, and imagine just like expanding to beyond that, taste, feel.
Yeah. I think like touch would be interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Right now, I guess massages will do.
Yeah. So, I love that. I thank you just for this time, right? And
thank you.
Just giving us a little bit of insights and giving me like we were talking earlier. I'm coming from a space of curiosity. I'm coming from a space of just learning who else are you, right? And what else do you like, right? And so like, so I really thank you, Sona, Kenobi.
Thank
Mika.
you, Javier.
Gracias, my man. Gracias a ti. And I'll see you in Singapore.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
I'm a man.
Appreciate it, brother.
That was good.
That was fine, brother.